Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Satiini and nAni here in the Delta Quadrant. Here we have Satiini spawning as the yellow Terran player at what I'll call the 10 o'clock position. Meanwhile, we have SRS Razor nAni spawning over here as the pink Protoss. So this is going to be Terran versus Protoss here on the Delta Quadrant, or here in the Delta Quadrant. Should be a good game. It looks like they're old friends here, so yeah, just gonna go ahead and at least they don't have hatred between the whole entire Protoss Terran overpowered matchup. And this is gonna be game one in a series that I will be casting today for you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Razor nAni now throwing down that standard 9 pylon. Back over here, we should be seeing a supply depot being placed down momentarily, and there we go. There's that supply depot. Most likely will get lowered just so that it doesn't block that Vespene. Guys are not quite sure about the positioning on that. Now, once again, this map is a very interesting map here in the Delta Quadrant. A lot of minerals to mine. So this is one of those games where you can try to really play it out and really try to go for some sort of late game attempt, just because the amount of minerals. There is this natural expansion over here, and then this rock expansion over here that is fairly well protected, except for this high ledge that a Terran player can abuse. Now, the Terran player, I think, has a slight advantage on this map and right now, just because of the way he spawned. He did spawn closer to the ledge of the natural expansion. I'm assuming that nAni is going to try to expand towards this low ground, or even try to do one style of one base play. One base play also very common, as well as one base play generally has a much larger army early on in the game, and if you're able to catch your opponent as he's trying to expand, that loss of 400 minerals and those additional workers really starts to hurt in the end. So now we do see this probe moving in. So Peppy the probe now going to go ahead and get some sight in, and now finally going after that SCV. So we'll be able to get a couple of zaps off onto that SCV, but that SCV should be able to barely escape. Yeah, and escape down to 20 hit points, and now going to go start mining. And it looked as though, yeah, Satiini training up an additional SCV, and now currently not enough minerals for that orbital command, so not quite sure what he spent those minerals on. Oh, he did a gas block. Oh, so Razor Satiini doing a semi-gas block over here. That's the reason why that 150 minerals was a little bit shy, and why he trained that 16th SCV, as this now one refinery is going to force Razor to invest in an early Zealot. Normally, sometimes a lot of Protoss players ignore the early Zealot. I wouldn't suggest it, as an early Marauder could spell a lot of doom if you cannot chrono boost that one unit back enough. Over here, we do have the tech lab now being thrown down, and now a factory. So we are seeing Satiini going into a barracks, into a factory play, and also another supply depot being thrown down. Nice, interesting building placement here. This Zealot now going to, however, take down this one refinery. The refinery should be canceled in time. Yeah, refinery canceled at the last moment, and Satiini finally able to get that assimilator on there. Back over here, the gateway now starting to... Sorry, that gateway now going to be chrono boosting that one Stalker. So Stalker taking 42 units a time. There is one Marine that was guarding the ramp. Marine now pulling back, realizing that he really cannot engage over there, as a Zealot and a Stalker trying to take down these backdoor rocks, or this rock at the natural expansions over here. Also training up a Sentry. So the Sentry most likely will be used in order to block off this positioning over here. I do not see any Reapers being trained up, and now we are also building a starport. So Satiini going straight into a 1-1-1 build with a late gas. So that is the reason why he's currently trying to build more Hellions and more Marauders, as they are not intensive in terms of gas. We do not see any research at all. Back over here, now there is a pylon here, and now that Sentry joining in on the fight to take down these backdoor rocks. The graviton beam, or is it a disruption beam of this attack, only 6 damage per second, not too fast, but it is one of only 2 what I would consider spellcasters that actually have an attack, that and the Ghost. So over here, we do see this rocks will be taken down momentarily. Stalker dealing 12, or is it 12 damage? 11 damage per attack. Zealots dealing 10 damage per attack there. So the Stalker slightly, I believe the Zealot still does more damage just because of the 1.2 attack speed versus the 1.44. Marauder is now starting to macro up here, as now we are getting a medevac, so we may get a cargo of 2 Marauders and 2 Hellions into that medevac, and that would be a very, very strong sort of play. No, just the Hellions, not the Marauders just quite yet, and looks like we're going to try to deal some sort of harassment. This is a 2-gate into into a robotics facility for nAni. nAni opening with that standard robotics facility is very, just a very straightforward opening, I would say, for Protoss players. Protoss players really need that observer, and that really forces that into that whole entire observer play. We do see some Hellions over here, and now does this Nexus? No, the Nexus does not see those units. As a Marauder trying to get a little bit of sight onto some of those Marauders, and now Hellion's going to run along the backside of the base trying to get some of those units there. A nice warp-in block and a force field, so beautifully done by nAni, denying those Hellions any real damage. Wow, that was a great sight to see. That force field followed, that warp in followed with force fields, and I've really rarely seen warp in used as a defensive measure to stop units from walking in, and that was absolutely beautiful. As now nAni is going to be able to macro up a very large army. He also has this Nexus that will be completed in just a moment. We do see a command center now being built over here, but I do not see enough Marauders or to try to take down these rocks over here. We do see Marauders now on this high ground, so there are Marauders on this high ground, and that one Marauder will be able to shoot down any units there. nAni going at the sign of these Marauders on this high ground. That observer does spot them, and now I'm not quite sure why you just tapped 1-1. Okay, he's asking these admins to get out as there's a lot of lag, I believe, for him. Back over here, we now see an Immortal going to start shooting up onto that high ground. Those Immortals are going to, those Marauders are able to outrange those units, and now shooting at that Medevac. Medevac very low on hit points, down to 2. And wow, desperately able to escape there. And now we do, in fact, see that Observer is making its way over. And it looked as though, yeah, a bunker was canceled. And then now a supply depot being built here. I don't know if that was a bunker or a supply depot. Didn't catch it quite in time. And SCV has to repair that Medevac, as now we see some Marauders being moved over here. And most likely upgrade to an orbital command for this guy, as we has destroyed these destructible rocks. We do have one Viking out, so that Viking may be able to do a quick scanner sweep and take out an Observer. Back over here, yeah, these rocks will be taken down momentarily. Observer deciding to pull back, as we are now into a 3-racks play, one with the reactor and also a factory as well. We also see the Ghost Academy now being laid down. So the Ghost Academy, Satiini, since he's been macroing up Marauders and Marines, will have an excess amount of gas. So with 150 gas, but now we see Stalkers moving in, and there's nothing in this bunker, and with a Colossus as well. This is going to be a very, very bad sign. Satiini, however, may lose this bunker before, I'm not 100% sure if he was able to salvage it, and now more units being trained up. There is one Observer there, and are we going to get a scanner sweep? No, we do not have enough energy for a scanner sweep just quite yet. That Observer in a very key and critical position as those Marines just running around. We do have the Stimpack research, no concussive shell yet, and army-wise, we see nAni sitting at a 2150 versus a 1300 for Satiini. So Mass Marine Marauder doing a great job trying to hold off this attack, but now Colossus and Stalkers and Immortals will be able to start picking off more and more units, and without those concussive shells and only one Medevac in the air, that's going to be hurting. And also now a reactor being built, but that may be too little too late. 50 units of time to build a reactor, so unless 2 Medevacs are being trained up out of there, it won't even really matter. Colossus now perhaps going to try to get some positioning, and that's a very, very tight choke point there. Satiini now suffering to fight into his own choke point. Marauders and Marines trying to get in position. In comes one force field, making that choke point even tighter, and Satiini now going to lose a lot of units. Vikings trying to get in, trying to get some damage as well. There is one Marauder there, but one barracks has been taken down, and now those Stalkers should be able to take down the last of those Vikings, as those Colossi just taking so much damage there. Satiini now doing a great job with those force fields, preventing any sort of escape, and now Satiini says GG. So beautifully done by nAni here in the Delta Quadrant. nAni able to quickly macro up, get a Nexus over here, also getting that Observer, denying any sort of pressure from those Marauders early that I had mentioned earlier, just because of the natural positioning, then transitioning into getting a couple of Mortals and then going into straight Colossus. Those Colossus were absolutely huge. Off of all of this, off of 3 warp gates only. There was one proxy pylon back over here causing more reinforcements, but really, even though these Colossus did not have that extended thermal lance range, it was still enough. Colossus with Sentry, such a dangerous combination, as you're able to group together those units to take more splash damage. You can see these 3 final force fields there and this force field here made very, very small choke points in the Terran base. So that Colossus with that extended, with that lance that has about, I believe, a 2 diameter attack, that's how wide that attack is, and all of those units had to walk through that Colossus damage and just take so much damage consistently. The Stalkers were able to shoot down many of the Vikings and not able to get enough medevacs for support. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed Game 1 in this series. Stay tuned for Game 2.